Guys, it's Dave from Skullcraft Customs. A lot of us are building planes, some for fun, some for profit. And today I wanted to discuss a few things because I struggle with this and I know someone else is when it comes to costing and pricing of your aircraft. So a while back, after building a ton of these planes, I decided I'm going to get really crazy and do some detailed digging here and see what I come up with. So I created this spreadsheet in Google Documents, and what it does is it takes into account the accepted date, the actual start date when you started putting things in motion. It keeps track of the elapsed time because, like in my case, I build these before I go to work and on my days off. So it might be 3 months of building, but only 100 hours of actual building, hands-on. So I track that stuff. So anyway, we have elapsed times as of dates. It tracks actual build hours, my quoted price, project name, stuff like that. Every time I buy something, I put the purchase details down here. Who it's from, where it's at, where I buy it. Sometimes I'll put a link if it's a hard to find item. And then I have a category selection of wood, paint, blah, blah, blah. And how many hours, what I did, what category it is. Is it fabricating? Is it painting? And then when it gets done, it takes all this into account, tells you if you're losing your butt or not. And I can tell you, I lose my butt a lot on these. And so I would like to hear people chime in and tell me what you've been getting for your planes and how many actual hours you have invested. Okay, so here, let's just say I plan on charging 25 bucks an hour. I can change that formula. Right now it's 25. It could be, maybe I'm only going to charge 10. Maybe I'm going to charge 50 an hour. But let's give you an idea of how you start really noticing how money and things and time affect you. Okay, so first thing I'm going to show, this is actuals. Okay, this is an actual build, and all of you guys have seen my AT802 plane. A lot of comments, everybody, oh my god, it's amazing. But let's show you how much money I actually did not make on this aircraft because I didn't want to charge somebody $5,000 for this. But let's look at the math and give you some realistic figures here. Okay, so the first plane that I built, now this is from scratch. I've never built one, never designed one, so everything is going to be a little bit worse on this than the second time around. So my start date was in like June, and that was as of 10/3 is the ship date. And I had 121 days involved. But actual hours were 168 hours, and I shipped that October 3rd. Now, this client paid me $1,600 for this airplane. I had no idea what to charge on this. Pedal planes are a lot different than electric planes. Electric planes got a lot of technical things you got to work through. There's weird things like funky plugs and all that kind of stuff. So let's go down here and look at it. Okay, so we got box speakers, we've got wood, where I bought it from, we've got electronics modules, Cytron 30 amp drivers, we've got batteries, wire hinges, paint, wire loom. Everything is recorded here. And I do that because I want to be able to compare that as I go and get this dialed in. Now, when we get down here, or over here, we see the actual, so the start date was here. But I'm listing start date as that, but it's really not dedicated to that. I'm actually building multiple things at the same time. So I had to start taking into account, did I actually really dedicate to this, or was this, I threw it on the shelf one day and started cutting something and I called that the first start date because, got to be real. So you can see here, I've got everything from, driving, shopping, fabrication, the plywood. I document all the hours. Paint prep, welding, fiberglassing of the floats, all of this stuff. It's all figured out down here, okay? So now let's look at the big picture. Right off the top, This airplane charged him $1,600, which I thought was amazingly great price. But when you get done, it cost me $2,000 in product to order these parts. And so I lost $450 right off the top. So I gave him $450 for buying this plane from me. Okay. Now I can say that what I started learning is a lot of this stuff that I purchased here was actually not needed. There's quite a few items that I'll correct in the next batch of building. Now we take into account labor. According to this, I've got, I've got 168 hours of labor. Okay, that's over a course of several months. So basically, a month's worth of full-time work I could have been done with this plane based on the actual time and labor involved. Okay, so now we're going to roll down here and see how this affected the big picture. So I lost $450 off the top in cost, which is for me, the basic thing is I do this for fun. I'm not doing this to survive, to pay all my bills. I don't want to give away money, obviously, and that's where I'm trying to really figure out my drama. But the realism is I lost $450. That's not okay. I don't mind losing labor, provided I do this on my time. You don't give me some crazy timeline that screws up with my family and stuff like that. But I do not ever want to owe money on something that I'm making for someone else. At minimum, my basic rule is, because I'm not a professional builder or anything like that, is I at least have to make cost. Because I would be in the shop either way, and if I was in the shop making some invention or something, it's going to be on my dime. At least in this case, it satisfies my urge to build stuff, and as long as it doesn't cost my family anything, it's cool. But right here, it cost my family something. Okay, so now let's look. Let's just say I want my rate to be $25 an hour. If I wanted my rate to be $25 an hour, I would have billed him $4,200. And then when you combine this figure over here, this airplane should cost him $6,200 if I'm billing $25 an hour. Let's go in here and change this figure. Let's just say I go in here and I change this number to $10. Now, at $10 an hour, 168 hours of work, I should have retailed that for $3,700. So, the big question is, are you making profits on these? Are you losing your butt? Have you even tracked it? Let's go out and look at one of the planes. Okay, guys, we're outside. The weather's finally good. I'm able to catch up. In Oregon, it's pretty tough because you get snow, high humidity, and things like that. Makes it really tough to paint things. But let's check out some projects. Okay, this is my go-kart I made. I call this the Warlord. That was made just for fun to show off. But let's look at what we're actually talking about today. So this is the AT802 two-seat version, which I am still, finalizing and detailing. And you can see, basically, it's as cool as the first one. Got all the goodies and all that stuff. It's got wheelchair motors, lighting, wicked cool dash that I'm still installing stuff on. I don't have it completed, but it's really close. I'm probably, I would say I'm probably 5 hours out from having this done and ready to ship. That doesn't include crating. So again, when you guys are building these planes, take into account all the details you're putting into them, because that stuff does add up. I don't ever really make any money on these. If it's pedal versions, I'll make a little bit of cash because I don't have to pay for a bunch of stuff. But now I actually have an idea of what my time's worth, what it's going to cost me to make stuff, and it's gotten to the point that when I want to make profit, I can, but the problem is, at what point does a kid's toy start exceeding the value? You'll still have a few clients that are willing to spend $4,000 on these. We've got some amazing builders online here in our club that are, maybe they get a ton, maybe they don't, maybe they're retired, don't need to. The bottom line is that look at those details. My spreadsheet is available. If you'd like a template, I can send that to you and you can make that for yourself. It does come in really handy for me. So I'll talk to you guys later. Hopefully this helps somebody out.